New Year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. Now get a savory sausage McMuffin with egg, plus hash browns and a small coffee for just $5.
For limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
At TJ Maxx, feel more you than ever, without compromise. Because we never make you choose. The quality you want, the styles you crave, and the prices you love. It's all at TJ Maxx, so you can focus on just being you. With so many finds arriving daily, that means so many ways to show your unique style. Shop in-store and online at tjmaxx.com and max what makes you, you.
Let's do Internet Says real quick because this is fascinating. Internet Says, the first one of these. So anyone who's not familiar with Internet Says, it's just cool baseball stories going on the internet. They live on Reddit. They live their threads, their feel-good stories. They're things that aren't covered normally, and I think they're cool because I think the culture and the community around the game is awesome. So first thing in Internet Says, Tommy Pham makes his case for MLB's next big metric. He calls it Phamgraphs. Okay, so this is an article written by, again, Eno and Will Salmon. My guys, these are the resident nerds. I love these dudes. This is very analytics heavy, but go check out The Athletic. It's a great article where Tommy Pham basically says, I don't like the advanced analytics context that's being left out because, frankly, and he's correct here, I agree with him, they tend to undervalue guys like him because he brings specific types of things, situational awareness that aren't represented very well in advanced analytics. But I will give one caveat for this whole thing. Analytics in general, advanced analytics, are literally made to add additional context for statistics. So the goal is to be able to represent why Tommy Pham is valuable in statistics. It's just that gap is empty right now, and it takes a lot of like intent, knowing what the intent of things were, and then accomplishing that and then representing that with stats. You need players to do that because they're the ones who know about the intent. So I think there's just a gap here in what stats we're making because a lot of people making them just didn't play. That's fine. There just is going to be a level of context, which they know about. And every analytics guy knows there's a certain level of context that I will not have. So talking to players is so awesome. I love getting the feedback, right? If people who are like not saying you're dumb, and they're more like, hey, but like, why is this guy better at stranding runners than this guy? And like, why? We know they are, but why? How can we represent that with stats? So that's what Tommy Pham is talking about. But I love it. I love this idea from a standpoint. So we're going to talk a little bit about what Tommy is the case he's making. And I've thought about this a lot, and I realized that I've also made this case. I just never gave an interview about it. So I agree with him. This is fascinating. So here's my boy Tommy Pham. So in the article, he calls it Phamgraphs because obviously there's Phamgraphs. I don't know if that's a website. I don't know what he means, but like just a group of statistics that represent more intangible context stuff. And the thing, he kind of separates it in two buckets, right? We have situational, so like your ability, how clutch are you? Like what type of pitching are you facing all the time? Are you facing bad pitchers or good pitchers? And that affects your year. So like one of the examples he gives is when you play for the Pirates and you're always losing, but you have good pitching, right? Here's a prime example. You're always behind, but the game's always pretty close because your pitchers are good. So if you're always down by 3 or less runs, you are facing your last 2 at-bats, the leverage guys, every game for the whole season. You're going to face way more of the higher quality pitching, as opposed to the Dodgers, who score tons of runs. They get lots of big leads, especially against teams like the Rockies, who have a lot of rookies, and so you can kind of take advantage of young, not as good pitching when you score lots of runs. You're way ahead early in the game. You're going to face a bunch of mop-up guys, and you're going to probably score a bunch more runs. And if you get a lot of that in their year, your year is going to look a lot better. So like the same player could be in that lineup versus the Pirates and have completely different offensive seasons, even if they still have the same approach. And there's just the environment or the situational stuff happening was just wildly different. And there's no stats. There's very few stats. You got to get really creative with stats to find that. And that's the case he was making, right? Which I think is really, really interesting. And I think he's onto something. There's a great point about leverage not being represented in stats. So this is important to me as a reliever, because how do you tell if you're not a closer? How do you prove that you're a good reliever and without going off the stats, right? What if you're a guy who throws the 6th inning and you go in and for some reason the team brought in the guy in the 7th who just cashes your runs every time? Like you get a guy in first and second, you get 2 outs, the guy comes and gives up 3 home run. You just gave up 2 runs without giving up 2 runs. Now your stats look way better than his. His stats look better than yours, even though he just cashed your runs. Like, how do you account for that? Leverage index, that's something I used in free agency. We were talking leverage index the whole time. Look how good he is in leverage. Look how good he is in leverage. Look how many guys, he's the best in the major leagues over the last 3 years in stranding runners and keeping inherited runners from scoring. Like, he's the best at preventing runners from scoring when he comes in and they're on. How do you get that? You get that through inherited runners. They don't talk about it very much, and there's no advanced stats, so you have to go find that and make that case. That's what Tommy's saying. Tommy's like, I need to be able to show these teams that I'm valuable. Where is he coming from? He's a free agent right now, and internally, teams know this stuff internally, but you have to go with a presentation and prove it. You have to be like, here's our PowerPoint, why you should sign me. And so that is what's happening. He gets frustrated when he's like, oh my God, we have to do this convoluted presentation where I can just point and be like, but the public doesn't know about this stuff, so that everyone thinks he sucks, and it's frustrating, and I hear that. The other bucket is environmental. So he wants sun and wind factored in to defensive metrics. Like if you're in a place where it is windy, you were outside and it's cold, and then it gets hot, and there's sun in your eyes the whole time, like the Oakland Coliseum, for example, was so big, and the sky was so high, and it was always cloudless, that there was a lot of messed up fly balls lost in the sun. More so than anywhere else. That's a hard place to play defensively. Also you have to cover a lot of ground as an outfielder, right? So you have to have a lot of range as well. So if that person plays in Toronto where it's covered most of the time, it's consistent every time, you don't have to worry about wind very much in the high sky as much, then you might have the same defensive player and he'll look way better in Toronto than he does in Coliseum. Weighting that stuff isn't very good. Though he talks about factoring in wind on certain balls and sun on certain balls, you'll never be able to time that stuff, even though they do have that data. You'll never be able to time it. It'll always be kind of circumstantial anyways. It'll always be kind of guesswork. So I don't know how we actually put in where the sun was at the exact moment we tried to catch the ball. But factoring in sun balls and figuring out a way to remove them from the bucket would be helpful. And he's got a good point, but I'm not super sold on how you do that. You kind of have to tell the story like he is now. But I like it. I like where he's coming from. I like these ideas, Tommy. I think you're on to something, brother. It's really, really, really interesting. So he made a quote here. He said, a 100 weighted runs created plus, your ability to produce runs, an advanced stat outside of RBIs, on the Pirates is not the same as 100 weighted runs created plus on the Yankees or the Dodgers, the best offensive baseball. The best offenses become even better because they have leads so often. Like I said before. So he's right. Yeah, that is frustrating. As a reliever, how do you prove that you're good if your ERA is a little bit inflated because 5 of your runs were cashed during the year, and they're like, well, your ERA was a 3.8. You're like, had someone came in and was clutch one time for me when I was out of the game, when I was pulled, when I could have got out of the situation, and those 3 runs scored. Had that not happened, I one time had something called an error that was a hit that was the most blatantly obvious error I've ever seen, and all 3 runs went from being unearned to earned, and it was someone else gave up the hit too. So I got 3 runs on my ERA for nothing, and I would have had a sub 3, but instead I ended the year with this 3.5 without those 3 runs. That's what we're talking about. So when you're a guy like him and a guy like me, where you're not a runaway, it makes sense. We're these mid-tier, low-tier, reliever, late addition outfielders that do a good job in clutch situations. There's no stats. Our value is so hard to prove, even though we are valuable and we do certain things that are very valuable really well, and there's just no stats. So I agree. What do you think? Should we call it Phamgraphs though? Should I make Phamgraphs? I feel like I want to make this. I want to find these things. I want to create interesting, weird things. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make them all more than 4 letters because I am a masochist. That's cool. So, I want to know what you guys think. I think this is fascinating.
Running a business is hard enough, so why make it harder with a dozen different apps that don't talk to each other? One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. Before you know it, you are drowning in software instead of growing your business. This is where Odoo comes in. Odoo is the only business software you'll ever need. It's an all-in-one, fully integrated platform that handles everything. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, and more. No more app overload. No more juggling logins. Just one seamless system that makes work easier. And the best part, Odoo replaces multiple expensive platforms for a fraction of the cost. It's built to grow with your business, whether you are just starting out or already scaling up. Plus, it's easy to use, customizable, and designed to streamline every process, so you can focus on what really matters, running your business. Thousands of businesses have made the switch, so why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
At TJ Maxx, feel more you than ever, without compromise. Because we never make you choose. The quality you want, the styles you crave, and the prices you love. It's all at TJ Maxx, so you can focus on just being you. With so many finds arriving daily, that means so many ways to show your unique style. Shop in-store and online at tjmaxx.com and max what makes you, you.
Chris Stapleton's All-American Roadshow.
If you want a cowboy on a white horse, riding out into the sunset, if that's the kind of love you want to
With special guests.
Oh, I think I'm in love with you. I didn't know it at the time. I know what
Get tickets Friday, January 16th, 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Chris Stapleton's All-American Roadshow.
Anyway, let's move on. Moving on with more of Internet Says. We'll be a little bit faster because I want to get into AMAs. All right? I don't know if you guys noticed, but this was released by Baseball Reference, the most searched, basically searched player on the platform for the last year. Obviously, Clayton Kershaw's final year, he ran away with it. But there's a couple weird ones in here, right? We have Nolan Ryan in Oklahoma. Okay? But up in Iowa up there was Kyle Farnsworth, who hasn't played since 2014. He played 12 years in the big leagues, and he's not really a household name. And it's a really funny reason why Kyle Farnsworth won Iowa, and it recently came out. This is hilarious. So on New Year's Eve, Baseball Reference posted this. They do it every year. It's kind of like their Wrapped, Spotify Wrapped, right? The map showing all the search non-Shohei Ohtani pitcher was in each state. So it's no Shohei. Shohei, what couldn't be on this? Or it would have, whatever. It would have been blue either way, right? So there was a lot of Kershaw and Crochet and Skeens, right? Like around their areas. But then there's Kyle Farnsworth. Someone DM'd Baseball Reference with a possible explanation. And it said, quote, right here, "Dear Baseball Reference, I'm telling you, my dad is the reason Kyle Farnsworth is #1 in Iowa." Love to hear it. No, not actually, but he does Immaculate Grid every day on his lunch break. He doesn't know how to switch Chrome tabs. So every time he looks someone up, he goes to the home screen where Kyle Farnsworth page is pinned, and he will look from there. It probably visits Kyle's page 30 times a day, maybe more. So the working theory here is that one guy in Iowa has looked up Kyle Farnsworth 30 times a day for an entire year, and that was enough to make Kyle Farnsworth the most searched Baseball Reference guy in Iowa. Which, if big if true, like that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Love that stuff. Data. Okay, another story. It turns out, poll says that soccer is now more popular in America than baseball. Fans self-declared favorite sport, Q4 2024, percentage of total. Now, it's funny, this is from 2024, not 2023. Why we're hearing about it now, I don't know. But also, favorite is spelled Faurite, which means it's either Canada or Europe, which means it's biased, which means it's fake news, probably. Mixed martial arts is the bottom. Source is Ampere Analysis. I've never heard of it. So, think what you want. But baseball's now the fourth most popular sport. Hey, whatever, man. Soccer's freaking lit. Who cares? Okay. Now, I have one sad thing to talk about. That's Tyler Loop, the kicker for the Ravens. He missed the field goal to win not only the game, but the division and get a playoff berth as time ran out against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now we have Aaron Rodgers going to the playoffs with the Steelers. And you saw it right there, missing the biggest field goal of your life. You're paid to do exactly one thing. It is a damned if you do, and you're good for now or damned if you don't, you're good for now until next time if you do situation, which as a reliever, I understand you're either doing your job or you suck ass. Those are the two options, and I feel for Tyler Loop on that. He missed a 44-yard field goal, wide right, and then you saw him hold his mask. You saw his backup quarterback, the guy holding for him, give him a little tap and then walk away and leave him alone. That is miserable. Now, one of the greatest kickers of all time, Kyle Tucker? Cole Tucker? Am I crazy? Tucker, for the Ravens, now has some competition for the hardest field goal ever to watch for Ravens fans. So that's a tough one. I feel for the guy. I know he's feeling really, really bad. But I'm going to give him credit. The guy handled it like a champion in the post-game presser. He took responsibility, and he knows that like it's a binary. It's a I hit it or I missed it. Like yes or no. Like that's his job. And there is no almost, especially in that job. There is no almost, and he knows that. You have to just figure out a way to come back in a blaze of glory. But hey, Brad Lidge did it. You can do it too, Tyler. By all accounts, you're a great kicker. So this is the only kick in NFL history that came as time expired in the fourth quarter of a final. We could see the both team playoff home resting on it solely on the result of the kicks. First time that ever happened, and it didn't go well. I did see an interesting fact, and now I don't even know if this is verifiable, but I want to hear what you guys have to say, if any of you guys know it. But like in the last, 15 years, field goals kicked as time expires from 60 yards or further, like that specific set, so like a long field goal to end a game where one team wins, like 21% of them have been against the New York Giants. So like the Giants have lost more in that way than anyone else by a lot, and it's really funny. That's extreme. I think it's happened to them like 7 times or 8 times in that time, and like the next highest was like 2. How fun is that? Isn't that fun? Fun little fact for you. Now I don't even know if it's true, but if it is, it's pretty awesome. But last thing I want to say about the kicking thing, one of the biggest pressure moments of my career wasn't really like a pressure from the. This was more of a legacy thing, but I came in to Joe Mauer's final game where he caught one hitter in the last inning to Matt Belisle. Matt Belisle went in the game. This is before there was the 3-hitter rule. And Matt Belisle went into the game. He threw one hitter. He gave up a double. I love Matty B, but that happened. Gave up a double, so there's no outs. We're up 3-2 in Joe Mauer's final game as a Twin. And he gets pulled. He's not catching more, and then they bring me in to close the game with a guy on second. So the auto guy on second, we're up by 1 run, and I was able to punch out the side to get out of it. So the most pressure I've ever felt, though, I was like, oh my God, I cannot ruin Joe Mauer's last game. I can't do it. Especially can't let this thing go to extras. So that was pressure I felt. Fortunately, I was able to get out of it, but like there was other ones in the September 11th game, 2021, where I gave up the homer to Judge. I felt a lot of pressure that day, and I know what that. I've never been on this level, though. That's crazy. So that sucks.
This is Julian Edelman from Dudes on Dudes with Gronk and Jules. Sunday mornings, I've got my game day ritual. Coffee, lucky socks, and now new morning Uncrustable sandwiches.
It's all about that 12-gram protein boost with the new Uncrustables, bright-eyed berry or up and apple flavors.
Bright Eye Berries got a feisty receiver energy.
Up and apple, your classic do-it-all tight end.
Soft, pillowy, packed with protein, and easy enough for Gronk to grab from the freezer.
Whether you're on the couch, driving to the tailgate, or heading to the locker room, new morning Uncrustable sandwiches are the MVP of snacks.
Your new Sunday kickoff ritual starts here with new morning Uncrustable sandwiches packed with 12 grams of protein.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed Human.